Sufism, the mystical Islamic belief system, has deep roots in Sudan, a country that sits at the crossroads of sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East. For centuries, Sudanese Sufis have been gathering in mosques, open fields, and squares, engaging in dhikr, or devotional acts, that involve chanting and dancing to remember Allah. Their ceremonies are mesmerizing, a testament to Sudan's rich spiritual tapestry. However, recent decades have witnessed a decline in the prominence of Sufi traditions in Sudan. Factors both external and internal have threatened their continuance and influence. To fully grasp the gravity of this decline, it's crucial to understand the historical depth and significance of Sufism in Sudan. Historically, Sufi orders, or tariqas, played a significant role in spreading Islam across Sudan. A tariqa is a Sufi order which symbolizes the spiritual journey towards God. It is used to describe the grouping of disciples around a leader or sheikh, to whom they pledge allegiance as their spiritual guide. They bridged the gap between the spiritual and the mundane, focusing on inner purification and love for the divine. Over time, these tariqas established large followings, with some sheikhs, or spiritual leaders, wielding considerable influence. Among the renowned Sufi orders in Sudan are the Qadiriya, the oldest, and the Samaniya, known for its extensive network. Their influence was such that they were involved in resisting colonial forces, solidifying their position as not just spiritual, but also societal leaders. However, post-independence, as Sudan grappled with its identity, a series of governments, particularly under the leadership of Omar al-Bashir, sought to reshape the religious landscape. The Bashir regime, which lasted from 1989 to 2019, promoted a stricter form of Islam, drawing inspiration from the Salafist and Islamist movements. This marked the beginning of challenges for the Sufi orders. Under Bashir's rule, the government extended support to more hardline Islamic ideologies, sidelining Sufism. This was reflected in the educational system, where textbooks began to emphasize a more conservative understanding of Islam, often at the expense of Sufi teachings. Another factor contributing to the decline of Sufism in Sudan is urbanization. As Sudanese cities expanded and rural residents flocked to urban centers, many were exposed to various interpretations of Islam, including more conservative ones. The influence of urban mosques, often funded by foreign investments promoting a stricter version of Islam, began to overshadow the traditional Sufi gatherings in local zawiyas or lodges. The age-old Sufi traditions also faced criticism from some sections of Sudanese youth. Many of them, influenced by the broader Islamic revivalist movements across the Arab world, began to view Sufi practices as outdated or even heretical. The technological boom and increased access to the internet further exposed young Sudanese to a spectrum of Islamic interpretations, often sidelining Sufi teachings. Externally, the influence of foreign funding, particularly from countries promoting stricter interpretations of Islam, has played a role. These funds often went into building mosques, schools, and institutions that echoed the donors' religious leanings, further diluting Sufi influence. The aftermath of the Arab Spring further complicated matters. While it ushered in an era of change across the Middle East and North Africa, in Sudan, it intensified the struggle between liberal forces and conservative Islamists. This tussle often saw Sufi groups and their shrines caught in the crossfire, sometimes literally, as some were attacked or desecrated. Economic challenges have not spared the Sufi communities either. As Sudan grappled with economic sanctions and a dwindling economy, funding for traditional Sufi practices and gatherings dwindled. The resulting economic hardships made it challenging for many to engage in activities that weren't directly tied to livelihood, affecting attendance at Sufi gatherings. However, it's not all bleak for Sufism in Sudan. The ousting of Bashir in 2019 has provided a glimmer of hope. The transitional government has shown an inclination towards promoting religious pluralism and returning to Sudan's diverse roots. Furthermore, many young Sudanese, disillusioned by the years of hardline religious and political doctrines, are now rediscovering the spiritual allure of Sufism. They find in it an antidote to the rigid dogmas that dominated their nation for decades. This renewed interest is not just limited to Sudan but reflects a broader global trend where individuals, seeking solace in turbulent times, turn to mysticism. The road ahead for Sufism in Sudan is uncertain. While the challenges are many, so are the opportunities. The resilience of the Sufi orders, their adaptability, and their historical significance in Sudanese society make them an enduring force. In conclusion, the ebb and flow of Sufi traditions in Sudan are emblematic of the nation's broader struggles with identity, modernity, and tradition. The future of Sufism in Sudan will be shaped by a confluence of factors: political decisions, societal attitudes, and global trends. However, one thing remains clear. The spiritual essence of Sufism, its emphasis on love, compassion, and inner transcendence, will always find resonance. Thank you for watching Middle East Info. If you found this informative, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated on all things Middle East.